Hi there. I believe we all have a power story to tell. I actually call it your soul's power story. Our power stories are the heartbeat of our lives. When told, they actually lead us to our true north and our authentic self. Power stories, they inspire us, they connect us, and build a framework for your life and business. Your soul's power story needs to be told, and your lessons need to be shared with humanity. Your soul's power story is the invisible thread that connects all of us from all walks of life together for the betterment of the world and ignites your soul purpose. I believe you were meant to share your soul's power story, and by doing so, you let your light shine bright and leave your mark on the world. The truth is, you become a trailblazer by virtue of being yourself. So here's the thing. There's a new badass and beautiful woman in the world, and it's you. I've created this system, as you know, called Badass and Beautiful Revolution. It's your soulful, practical guide to living your life on your own terms. It helps women craft their stories, their power stories, and their messages so that they can spread that message to millions and impact lives all across the world. Finally, you have a lifestyle-friendly business where you're not trading time for dollars, and you have more freedom and flexibility to spend doing the things you love, like spending time with your family. The truth is, I want you to become who you most want to be. I want you to be you fearlessly. That's why I created Badass and Beautiful Revolution. This 7-step system that I've designed, it's my life's work. I'm super, super proud of it. But the beginning part of this is what we call your soul's power story. So have you ever actually written your story? Have you ever journaled about your highlights of your life, the struggles and triumphs you've gone through? Have you ever really acknowledged how you got to where you are and how you're standing here right now? You see, your soul's power story has the ability to bring you into a deep sense of self, of understanding what you are made of. Your soul's power story reveals deep truths and awareness around what it's like to be you, to walk your walk. Your soul's power story has the innate ability to highlight your superpowers and reignite your confidence and maybe even give you confidence for the first time. Your soul power story has the tendency to heal past wounds, neglected parts of you, and your big, beautiful heart. So here's my power soul story. For me, my story starts when I was just 2 years old. My dad actually sat down with my brother and I, my mom, and said, "I'm leaving your mom for another life. I'm gay. Your mom and I are getting a divorce." And immediately I started believing the story that I wasn't adequate, I wasn't good enough, and that my dad didn't love me somehow enough to stay. I spent most of my life trying to find something to make me feel good enough. I tried to be the perfect kid and do everything right. As a teenager, I looked for love in all the wrong places, with sugar and boyfriends and booze. And then by the time I was 18, I was date raped. I felt powerless and I hated myself. Then in college, I found myself collapsed on the bathroom floor in severe abdominal pain. 4 hours later, I was in emergency surgery for massive ovarian cysts and endometriosis that engulfed my pelvic cavity and organs. My doctor came in and told me I wasn't going to be able to have children naturally. Again, I didn't feel good enough. With mounds of debt and my compromised health and not much to feel happy about, I decided it was time to take a deep look at my life. Who am I? What do I want? What's my purpose? And I knew I needed to change course. It was years later in Bali, traveling alone, that this was my breakthrough. It was the moment that it just came to me. Not quite like Julia Roberts in Eat, Pray, Love, but it was definitely love for me. I finally felt good enough. I had everything I needed inside of me. I knew I could rise up, play big, and recognize my gifts as my own to make an impact in the world. I knew I had a story to tell and life lessons to teach. I knew that I wanted to give my gifts to the world and make a difference. So I built this signature blueprint, Badass and Beautiful Revolution, and I developed my successful lifestyle brand, Be Soul. And today I get to transform women's lives everywhere by letting them too tell their stories and let them become who they most want to be by being their authentic self. So that's my story. And now it's your turn to discover your own soul's power story. So here's what I want you to do. Below this video, you're going to see a worksheet that's going to give you some guidance. And this is just preparatory, so we'll get into this much deeper in the actual program of Badass and Beautiful Revolution. But for now, I want you to start to pick apart themes from your life and just do some journaling. It doesn't have to be real formal. Again, the worksheet below you will guide you. But you're going to start to pick themes that, moments of influence that have really impacted your life. For me, the first thing of impact was that I was 2 years old and my parents decided that they weren't going to stay together. So that would be a major, life course change, right? So I want you to think of those for you. And they don't all have to be negative. It could be that you moved to a new town where you found your best friend and you really felt like you fit in. So just don't take that to mean that they have to be negative, but you're gonna jot down those significant life moments, the moments where you felt like because of this interaction, because of this moment, because of this soul impact, my life shifted course. And so that's all I want you to do for this first part of your story. Then what we're gonna do in upcoming lessons, when we really dive into the story, is we're gonna start to craft your story from your vantage point. And this is such an incredibly powerful gift. I promise you, when I did this, I thought I knew who I was, and not until I actually wrote this story out and really dove deep into where I progressed in my life course and the lessons I learned along the way, the triumphs I overcame, the struggles I had, the horrible hate I had for myself, the not feeling good enough or inadequate. All of that stuff was like this bubbling emotional storm that came up as I was crafting my soul's power story. And so we get to do that together. And I know it may sound daunting, it may sound tough, and it in fact is one of the truest things you can possibly do in your life. But what it's going to give you on the other side is a massive breakthrough. I get chills just thinking about it because I know what it felt like to me once I was able to tell my story in an empowered way. And so that's the gift in this first little bit, is you're just going to jot down all of the life courses that you want to include into your soul's power story. And then next lesson, when we dive deep into the soul's power story, we'll really craft, and I'll give you more guidelines as to how we're going to put the story together so it makes sense, it feels good to you. I believe that your story becomes who you are. I believe that who you are becomes what you do. And so there isn't this interchangeable, or there isn't a difference between who you are and what you do. If you're really following your passion, which is what we're designing right now, you are going to come into a life of alignment with your soul purpose, and you're going to live fully from a place of passion. So let's get started. Below again, access your worksheet. Let's go to town with your first just exploratory, in-depth look at who you are and what makes your story so powerful. I'll see you on the next video.